like to fly in space? Oh, good. How many of you like to sit on top of millions of pounds of explosives? Controlled by millions of parts, each one comes from the lowest cost government supplier.
Edward G. Gibson served as science pilot of Skylab 4. For his heroism and duty to his country, Edward Gibson is inducted into the United States Astronaut Hall of Fame.
I was fortunate enough to be on Skylab, our country's first space station. Like many missions that we've had since then, we travel a good distance. In about 84 days, Jerry Carr and Bill Pogue and myself traveled about 35 million miles. But when you run the numbers, you see that it takes light just 3 minutes to go that same distance. And yet it takes light over 4 years to reach our nearest star. Clearly, when it comes to space travel, we have just barely put our collective toe out the front door.
As the scientist pilot on the last and longest mission to Skylab, America's first space station, Ed Gibson experienced a then record-setting 84 days in space. His life in zero gravity extended outside Skylab during over 15 hours of spacewalks. During his 14-year career with NASA, Ed also served on the support crew for the Apollo 12 mission and as a consultant during the filming of Apollo 13, starring Tom Hanks. And in 1974, he was presented NASA's Distinguished Service Medal by President Richard Nixon. After his NASA career, Ed excelled in program management and marketing and recently retired from a top-ranked Fortune 500 research and engineering firm.
I think it's necessary to add one fact to the very generous and introduction and description of my illustrious academic career. I was president of my first grade class 2 years in a row. Now, had I accepted people's early judgment of my academic prowess, it would have been a different life for me. And so it is for all of us. The prime requirement for success is to have enough self-confidence to be persistent, to never, 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 never give up.
It's that dedication and persistence that made the early space program so successful. Ed Gibson illustrates the qualities of a good leader with personal stories of that never-give-up attitude.
Well, what the heck do these guys have to do with spaceflight? The guy in the center could be a very competent accountant. The tall gentleman to the right, he looks a little uncomfortable in a shirt and tie. In truth, both these gentlemen were essential to spaceflight. Both were exceptional overachievers and personified two vital, yet distinctive traits of leadership: vision and courage. The courage to turn their own visions into reality. We now recognize Robert Goddard, the gentleman in the center, as a father of American rocketry, even though over 80 years ago he was just being continuously ridiculed for his obsessive playing with rockets. But he persisted, and spaceflight is much further ahead today because he did. The other gentleman, to the right, Charles Lindbergh, a pioneer in aviation, upon a base upon which spaceflight was built. His aircraft, the Spirit of St. Louis, now hangs in the Smithsonian in Washington, D.C., just as it did when I stared at it in awe as a kid. No one could picture flying that small, frail aircraft into the darkness over the cold Atlantic without admiring his courage to demonstrate his vision.
Well, the harder we work, the more efficient and confident you become. Soon you become to think of your space station up there. It's just your average 3-bedroom home. It's so stable and it's so secure. In fact, you really don't think you're going to be flying at all. It doesn't feel that way, and you don't notice the difference between flying and being in a space station until you finally leave it. Matter of fact, you'd be content, as we would, to have stayed up there for a long period of time, for years, if we had friends and family along. Maybe a good pizza parlor. There's nothing foreign or nothing hostile about it.
How many of you like to go outside on a spacewalk? Not so many hands this time. Don't trust me. Well, let's talk about it. Let's all go up to the top of a tall building. 50-story, 100 stories, that would do. But now, let's open a window after you've looked out and where it's pleasant and relaxing. We'll now open a window and we'll take you out one by one to the end of a long springboard, where we have a steel-fisted Arnold Schwarzenegger going to grab you by your ankles and hold you head down. Now, intellectually, you'll know you never fall. And even though you're at the same height as you were inside, you have to admit, it feels a bit different. Well, on the spacewalk, you get that same feeling, just more of it. Head down, you glide over Earth at a very serene 5 miles a second. And the laws of Sir Isaac Newton give you full intellectual confidence that you're up there to stay. But when you move away from the station and look down at Earth, 300 miles below, and feel or see nothing else around you, this little whisper seeps out in the back of your mind. Suppose that Newton guy was just a little bit wrong.
Whether addressing 80,000 cheering football fans during a San Francisco 49ers halftime show, delivering a speech to a standing room only audience of 3,000 in Rochester, New York's Eastman Theater, leading a discussion with 1,100 members of the Explorers Club in New York City, or motivating 2,500 University of Texas Medical College graduates during a commencement address, Ed has enthralled hundreds of diverse audiences. Ed Gibson's programs include leadership, management, and the great adventure of spaceflight. To learn more about Ed and secure his unique blend of humor and insights for your next event, please refer to the information that accompanies this video.